Evening all, and welcome back to the Kieran Clowen Racing Show for the weekend preview for Cheltenham and Doncaster. Obviously, Cheltenham's Trials Day, a lot of decent horses out. A few small fields, which is a bit disappointing in the Cotswold Chase and the Unibet Hurdle, but we can see what we got out there. There's not much value in those races, to be honest, but I have got one that I might take a flyer on in the Cotswold Chase, but I will get onto that shortly. Just a quick bit of housekeeping. Thanks for you all the people that have watched the previous videos, liked and subscribed to the channel. It's pushing along nicely. Not had many selections in the last few days. Obviously, we had the anti-post video on Monday. Just waiting for the better race and trying to be a bit more selective with my selections this year rather than just having willy-nilly bets every single day. But yeah, definitely will have a few at Cheltenham on the weekend, that's for sure. And we're going to go through the full card right now. Starting with the 12:05, the 2 mile 4 novice handicap chase, where Callan Vol is favourite at 7-2 for Nicky Henderson, who has a very strong hand both here and at Doncaster this weekend. Could have a lot of winners, Nicky. Certainly a few of his big guns out this weekend. This horse has finished second and third at Cheltenham on both starts. Firstly, second to 6 Mile Bridge. He didn't look a natural over fences, to be honest. I actually thought he was going to go well. He went off 6-4 that day and didn't look really much of a natural. And again, seemed to be struggling with his jumping as well. So definitely needs to brush up on that. Going into this handicap here, was third then to Miami Magic last time out. The one I like in here though is Push the Button for Mark Walford, coming down from the north. Currently best price 6-1. Won really nicely up at Carlisle, beat Teller the Name, who was a short price favourite that day. It was actually finished back in third in the end. Pushed the Button, came along nicely and won really nicely in the end, like really cosily. Then went on up to Wetherby, where he finished second to Meet Me by the Sea. Now that's decent form as Meet Me by the Sea. He's come out and won since up at Ayr, I do believe. And then went up in trip to this trip of 2 mile 4 last time out, when finishing second to Steel Ally. No questions asked, was back in third that day in that Ascot race. He's gone on to win last weekend at Windsor, so the form's been frank and looks decent. And I think Push the Button around 6-1 currently is a decent bet for this race. This race has been known to throw up Cheltenham Festival winners in the past, and Push the Button likely to go, I would have thought, for the plate rather than the Jack Richards, just because the plate might be slightly weaker. It's currently best price 20-1 for that race if you wanted to get involved. Anti-post for that as well. But yeah, he's definitely got a great chance here, and I'm quite surprised he's 6-1. Quite surprised he's that big, to be honest. We move on to the 12:40, the Juvenile Hurdle. Won brilliantly last year by I'll say that now. I can't remember the name of the horse now. Oh, it was in the coloured yellows. It comes to me. James Owens horse. Can't remember off the top of my head what it was called. But anyway, Maestro Conti heads to the betting here for the Skeltons at 11-10. Won really well up at Kempton last time out. First time out for the Skeltons. Did everything easy on the bridle very nicely. You got Melena Yoga in here, who beat Active Innocence down at Newbury. Yes, he was getting 2 stone off Acts of Innocence, but he did it very nicely. Potentially could come on for that run as well. I won't be having a bet in the race. I will be keeping an eye on one, which is Hardy Stuff. Gordon Elliott sends him over for a bit of a sighter at the track, potentially before a tilt at the Boodles later on down the line. He needs a couple runs to get into that. He's done okay so far this season. Obviously, he fell first time up, then was third, and won last time out at Punchestown really nicely. He's around a 12-1 shot for this. I won't be playing him for this. I will merely be watching, see how he gets on around the course. He's running against horses that are likely to be in the Triumph, whereas he's more a Boodles horse. Which he's currently around 20-1 for the Boodles, and if he runs a decent race here, I'm sure Gordon will find one more race to get into him before the Boodles itself, and I think he could cut in price from 20 to 1. We then move on to the 150, the handicap chase, over 2 miles 4 furlongs, the same distance track and trip as the as the novice handicap chase, the first race, and Jaguar is favourite 15 to 8. He actually won the novice event last year before going on to win the plate. Third in the Paddy Power on reappearance. Should take a lot of beating here, you would have thought. If he's got any aspirations of running in the likes of the Ryanair, for example, at the festival, he needs to be doing this really nicely off the mark that he's got. Last year's winner, Moon de Ronge, is in here. Now, there was a big gamble on this horse last year. I think he was started the morning around 8-9 to 1 shot, went off as short as 3 to 1. Out the back of the TV and a Sean Bowen Classic round the outside to get him home. And he won fairly snug last year, but he's gone up a bit in the weights coming into this bit, and I advise him pretty much to take him on, to be honest. Jaguar should be winning, but one I've got at a bit of a price who could potentially fill the frame is Donica of Nigel Hawkes. Now, he was third at Foss Lass 3 starts ago. Came there really cruising on the bridle, and made a mistake 3 out, which how the jockey stayed on, I do not know. That lost all chance. He basically just come home in his own time to finish third. He then went to Exeter and went down by half a length to You Can't Be Serious, who's a bit of a course specialist around Exeter, so that's not bad form. And then went up in grade to a Class 2 next time out at Chepstow. Had to carry top weight, but still managed to finish second, not beaten too far. And he's got Cheltenham form over hurdles. I think he finished 4th in a decent handicap here a couple of seasons ago. I just think this horse could be potentially well handicapped and he may not beat Jaguar. Jaguar should be in a different league to him, but 16 to 1 is far too big not to have a prayer each way. Maybe worth a play. The race that I said about at Chepstow where he made the bad mistake, the winner, Phil Barner, I think it is, of Hughie Morrison's, has gone and won again since as well. So form looks fairly strong. I just think 16 to 1 is far too big. The 150, the cross country. Now, to say I won't be interested in this is an understatement, but we will talk about it. Javid de la Veste, I believe I pronounced that correctly, for Emmett Mullins, second in the December race behind Final Orders, who reopposes is the 15 to 8 favourite. The one I like in here, and I'm going to take a bit of a swing at one, is the Gavin Cromwell train. Now, I know he's got Final Orders, but he also has Peaches and Cream in here, who has his second spin over the fences. 6th in the December race. I know I think he was beaten like 15 lengths. I just think he's had the course experience. Maybe he'll come on for that, and he's 33 to 1. Getting plenty of weight off the lot of plenty of these. Course experience now in the bag. He could potentially outrun those odds at 33 to 1. The French horse as well is interesting. ISO Madric was third in that race in December, but gets a decent swing at the weights with both the favourite and Final Orders, so he could potentially be decent. But his first try over the fences, he actually fell at the third, so I'm not too sure about him. And the other one to touch on is Favre de Chambedou, who will be having his second run over the fences as well. Fell in the December race, but obviously went on to win the Paddy Power Chase at Leopardstown over Christmas at a very big price. And potentially this could be his target. I know he's gone up in the handicap for that win, so maybe he might have blown his chances now, but we shall see how he gets on. But yeah, Peaches and Cream, bit of a speculative look, 33 to 1. We then move on to the 225, the first of the big races, the Cotswold Chase. Sadly, only 4 runners. I would have loved it if Stella Story had come here. I think he would have absolutely suited the ground down to the ground. He's got decent form behind, obviously winning the Bartlett and decent run in the Browns, but he doesn't come here. Grey Dawn in his favourite off the back of the win in the Betfair Chase. 4 to 7 favourite. Would I be back in 4 to 7? No. I'm going to take a bit of a swing on Florin Porter for the Cromwell stable. I know the stable's out of form and now put two up in the space of two races. This horse absolutely loves Cheltenham. Won the Stayers, was second in the Stayers as well. Has got won a novice Rainier over 2.5 miles. Just loves Cheltenham, and especially if he gets his own way in front. It's only a 4-runner race. If he gets an easy lead, certainly Grey Dawning won't be taking him on. The Hon Presse, who won this last year, will he really want to go forward? Probably not. And Spallan's Tower likes to be held up. So you'd like to think that Florin Porter will get the lead that he needs. And just if he jumps well from the front, like what he did when I know we haven't seen him for 486 days. The last time we saw him was the Kerry National at the Stole, and he pinged everything and basically ran them off their feet and won easy from the front. If he gets a similar sort of lead here, he's obviously won his Stayers off the front. Just a front run, 14-1 is far. I know he's had the time off and he's a 10-year-old now, but 14-1 is far too big. And we may have a small play on him in the Cotswold Chase. We then move on to the 3 o'clock, the Unibet Hurdle over 2 miles. Sergino versus the New Lion. 4-9 plays 2-1. I think Sergino will win this, and I think he'll win it pretty well, to be honest. As long as he doesn't bounce off the back of his Christmas Hurdle win, I think he will win this and win this really nicely, and then go potentially odds on for the Champion Hurdle. The New Lion obviously fell in the fighting fifth, first time in open company. And I'm not 100% sure what the Turner's form is like, to be honest. I know Final the Man was third and he's won 3 on the backs of offences. A few others have won their chase starts. But the Yellow Clay's been disappointing over hurdles since this season. I'm just not sure whether this form of the Turners is any good. The New Lion has obviously fallen last time out as well. Does he really get 2 miles? Does he need to go up in trip? Does he need to be maybe aimed at more of a Stayers or a Aintree Hurdle over 2.5 rather than the 2 miles? I just think Sergino will do him for speed, and that'll be that. Probably win at Shade Cosily, and I think 4-9. I wouldn't be getting involved at 4-9. Maybe put him in a multiple of some kind for the festival, because he's around a 6-4 shot now. If he wins this and wins this well, he'll be odds on for Cheltenham, and obviously beating his main market rival as well, because Lossiemouth will go to the mares. He will be very short and very hard to beat in that race as well. So Sergino to win the Unibet Hurdle as long as he doesn't bounce and he's all well and good. We then move on to the 3:35, the Cleve Hurdle over 3 miles, the trial for the Stayers Hurdle, and Imposed Trois again for the Henderson stable. It's the third favourite they've got on the card so far. 4-9, not 4-9, 10-11, sorry. 4-9 was Sergino's price, I do apologise. 10-11, won his last 3. Attempts qualifier at Aintree. Won really nicely at Newbury before winning the long walk as well. At Ascot, really nicely. Looks to be improving still at a rate of knots. And probably haven't seen the best of him, and I don't think he's going to need too much to win this either, to be honest. 10-11, decent price. If you want to get involved with the short price in the multiples, I won't be having a bet in the race. The 2 horses I will be keeping an eye on is Marchand 2. I just see how he gets on. If he gets beaten out of sight, he will definitely go to the Potemps. He's currently 14-1 for that. And Dolly the Great, who obviously won the Potemps last year. Is it the fact that they're going to run in this and then potentially put him in a Potemps qualifier, the one at Exeter maybe next time out, just to get him qualified to try and retain his title in the Potemps final? But yeah, Imposed Trois should be winning this, and should be winning this quite cosily, to be honest, and then taking a step forward into what looks a decent competitive Stayers Hurdle market. And then the last race, the Novice Hurdle over 2.5 miles. Active Innocence fought again for Henderson. 6-4 favourite. Nice winner at Newbury first time up over 2 miles. And then was beaten by Manelli Yoga, who I mentioned last time, again at Newbury over 2 miles, giving Manelli Yoga 2 stone. Now goes up in trip to 2.5 miles. Obviously, they've got Old Park Star for the Supreme, so they've decided to come this way and step Active Innocence up in trip. He should be fairly difficult to beat, but I am going to take him on, and I'm going to take him on with the very impressive Taurus Bay for Ben Paulin. Was down to run in the Formby at Aintree and never went there off the back of his Aintree win last time out, which the form's been franked as Captain Hugo was second that day, has come out and won since. But Taurus Bay, again, the one stepping up in trip. He just looked very, very good at both Stratford and Aintree. Won really, really nicely. I think he's just going to improve. I think he will relish the step up in trip more than what Active Innocence will. You get an 11-4 about him, and I might even have some of the 33-1 you've got about him for the Turners itself. I just think he's a right good horse. He won really nicely both starts, and he's 33-1 for the novice for the race at Cheltenham in March. You think that if he wins this, he will definitely be shorter than 33-1. Speaking of the Turners in March, there's a couple of horses in here that we will get form lines through. In regards to No Drama's End, who's currently 7-2 favourite. You've got Heads Up, who was beaten 3 lengths by him in the November meeting at Cheltenham. Obviously was second in the bumper as well. So, and the Blue Room, who was second to No Drama Ascent at Sandown, was beaten 5 lengths. So interesting to see how the collateral form works and how Active Innocence and Taurus Bay get on against them 2 horses and whether they beat them by further, and see what the price does in regards to Cheltenham after the race. But I really like Taurus Bay. I think he's got a decent chance of beating Active Innocence. We then go over to Doncaster, cover the races over there. The first being the 12:20, the Juvenile Hurdle, where Malanga is favourite again for the Henderson stable, 5-4 shot, making his entry for first race for them since coming over from France. The one I would say, if I'm going to have a bet in the race, is the Gordon Elliott trained Highland Crystal, who won very nicely at Newbury first time up, beating Trilly Girl, who reopposes by 6.5 lengths in a listed event. He looked very good that day. Didn't even come off the bridle. Won very nicely. He's in second favourite at 7-4. He's around a 25-1 shot for the Triumph Hurdle if you want to get involved in that. Obviously, if he wins well at the weekend, he'll be a lot shorter than that. Obviously, they have Monge too in the race as well, in the Triumph as well, who's likely to go to the DRF next weekend. The 12:55, the River Don over 3 miles. Carlin Rigg is favourite in here. Well, joint favourite actually with Rockin' Ends. Carlin Rigg for the Skeltons, Rockin' Ends with Sam Thomas. Carlin Rigg first off won really nicely at Cheltenham last time out. Well, I say really nicely, just about got up, didn't he? Down the rail, beating They Call Me Hugo, who hasn't actually advertised the form too well. He got beat next time by another one of the Scallop's in Money Garrow. Conman John was third that day. He's unfortunately been ruled out for the season. Carlin Rigg could go and improve again. They said when he first came out of Chepstow that he'd need a trip. And I think he could potentially go on again. Rockin' Ends, Insignia for Sam Thomas, won really nicely at Chepstow first time. He actually beat Carlin Rigg at Chepstow. So Carlin Rigg's got that form to reverse as well. It's just the bounce factor again with Rockin' Ends. He had a long time off. Was probably primed for Chepstow on his return. Local track for Sam Thomas. I'm not sure if he's going to be fully wound up for this. He had a bit of a time off since that race. Maybe he's going to need the run. We shall see. And then there's the Devil You Know coming over from Ireland for Paul Noland. Won really nicely at Gorham first time up, beating Skylight Hustle. You obviously went and won the Grade 1 over Christmas at Leopardstown, and then was second to Dr. Steinberg at Nace, and Dr. Steinberg is quite high up in the betting for the Albert Bartlett. So the Devil You Know coming here looks a decent proposition for obviously Irish Raider. You always want to take note. Sorry, two at bigger prizes. Bless me. In the race, Kent the Tie given for Rebecca Menzies. She gave a good mention this in the stable tour at the start of the season. Fifth at Newcastle behind Zanzibar over this trip before stepping down in trip to Carlisle where he won really nicely. Obviously going back up in trip could be a bit of a concern, but the fact they're throwing him into a grade class 1 shows the confidence in the stable. He's a 33-1 shot, but he's definitely worth a look. And the other one is Get On George, who was 4th in that race at Newcastle before going on to win at the track last time out, being Draco Malfoy, who was well touted from the Kim Bailey stable. And he's beat him very nicely last time indeed, and could definitely come on for the run. Get On George for the Sue Smith and John Parkinson stable. He's about 16-1 shot currently. It's a very open race, the River Don, and it'd be in fact it's 9-2 the field. And I might have a bet in it closer to the day. We'll see how the market looks. The 130, the Mares Hurdle, over 3 miles. You got Feet of a Dancer in here for Paul Nolan, 5-2 favourite. Winner at Punchestown on reappearance will finish in a good second to Wadu over Christmas. Obviously, Wadu is currently second favourite for all the Mares Hurdle itself. But yeah, Feet of a Dancer, very, very progressive horse. I know he's a few people. One person has mentioned her as potential chance for a Stayers Hurdle, getting the £7 off. She's 100-1 for that. Make of that what you will, but somebody I listened to is very bullish about that point. Jatara's in here, second favourite, won the race last year 3-1, and the other one I'm going to mention is Lavadea Avida for Ruth Jefferson. Won over course and distance last time. Did actually have an entry in the Cleve Hurdle. I thought that's where they might have gone to get a bit of course experience in before going for the Patents that she's qualified for. But they come here instead. I'd like to see if she was to run well here, they take their chance in the Patents, and she is currently a 50-1 shot. I know I've mentioned Marsh on 2 for the race as well, and Dolly the Great, but definitely going to keep an eye on Lavida Avida as well and see how she gets on this weekend. The 205, we've got 2 more races to cover, and then that'll be that. The 205, the Yorkshire Chase over 3 miles. Grand Jest is favourite in here for Smith and Parkinson at 7-2. Winner at Haydock last time out over 6.5 by 6.5 lengths, very impressively. But the one I like in here, and probably will be a bet for me come the day, is Doc Pick Me. 13-2, currently best price for Richard Hobson's horse. Winner over course and distance last time. The race before that, he was 3rd at Newcastle in the rehearsal chase behind Confusion, who obviously went on to win the Roland Merrick, and then ran a decent race at Haydock next time out, just going down by a length when finishing 3rd in the, I can't name of the race now, at Haydock, off the top, Peter Marsh, that's it. And then the second in the Newcastle race was Deafening Silence, who went on to finish 3rd in the Welsh National. That form looks strong. He actually won the race last year as well. Doc Pick Me, I think 13-2 could be too big for him. And if he's around that price on Saturday morning, he will definitely be a bet. That's that race. That's that all covered at Doncaster. And then one more race to touch on is the Solarina Mares Hurdle, Novice Hurdle over at Fairyhouse, the 138, where Old School Outlaw is favourite at 1-2. Should take all the beating here. Obviously beat Bambibo Fever at Nace on debut. Has now been brought as well by JP McManus, and I think she will win and win quite nicely. She's got Place de la Nation to beat, I think, who's won two very average races at Furless and Ferris at very short odds. Takes a big step up in class here. But yeah, Old School Outlaw currently best price 8-1, second favourite for the Mares Novice. And I hope she will do very well here and improve her chances. Because if she wins well here, I might well back her for the Mares Novice, because I really think Bambino Fever needs a trip. And we said on my little status that I put up a few weeks, I think it was back end of last week, saying I'd lay Bambino Fever for the Mares Novice. I just think she needs to go up in trip. I think she might be doing for a bit of speed. Obviously, our Old School Outlaw has already beaten her. But that's the end of the video. Just the one best bet so far, and it's Taurus Bay in the novice hurdle at Cheltenham over 2.5 miles. I just think this horse will beat Active Innocence. I'm really surprised that there's that much differential in the prices. He was really impressed with the Aintree, and I hope he goes well. But that's all, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you all have a good weekend punting. Enjoy the video, like and subscribe, and happy punting to you all.